Hello and welcome to Yaya. Thank you for participating in our beginner series. This will be the second video of the series. So this video will be focusing on showing you some basic poses and giving you lots of cues to think about with those poses so you can learn how to work with your body and feel good while you're practicing. The biggest thing that I always like to express to beginners, the most important thing to focus on is our breath. We learned how to sit upright and breathe in the first episode of the series, and now we're going to learn to utilize the tools of breath as we're also working on learning the different cues that we can work with in our poses. I also want to let you know that there are sometimes lots and lots of cues to think about and work with in specific poses. I need to have my foot like this. I need to press firmly down with this foot. I need to lengthen out this arm. I need to focus on using these muscles and pulling the legs together. These are things that will come in time. So don't bombard yourself with all of the little details. Truly try to enjoy your practice. That's going to be the most important thing. It all starts to fall into place as you allow yourself to practice more and your body gets more used to doing the poses. So we're going to get started in sitting up tall today, and I'm going to advise you that we are going to start sitting down, and I'm going to get you some breath first, okay? So allow yourself to take a moment to sit up tall and just allow yourself to take a few deep breaths. Inhale and exhale through the nose. Align the shoulders over the hips, the ears over the shoulders, and reach the crown of the head to the sky. A few more deep breaths here. Just allowing the breath to deepen, allowing your attention to draw inward, and allowing your mind to open up to the information you will receive, knowing that it's always here to come back to again and again to help you, right? So we don't have to learn everything today. We don't have to learn everything for many years to come. I am still learning in my yoga practice on how to utilize more whenever I am practicing. And I find that to be one of the most amazing things in practicing is yoga truly meets you where you are and it truly grows with you. And once you start to gain that insight into it, it becomes one of the most amazing things you can do because it helps you to feel at peace. It helps you to feel engaged and empowered. And I hope to bring that to those that practice with me. So we're going to get started today standing up nice and tall. So first I'm going to tell you to, warm up your ankles, shake out the knees a little bit, and then bring your feet to about hip width apart. For most people, we actually, especially women, we will set our feet out thinking that our feet are hip width apart because we're thinking about the outside of our hips and not the actual hip bones. So allow yourself to take your hands to the front of the hips and then notice where the legs lie underneath those and try to bring them a little closer together if you need to, so that way they're right underneath the hips. From here, you're going to spread out the toes, press firmly into the bottom of the feet, softening the knees a little, and then press energy into the bottom of the feet as though you're trying to pull the feet apart from each other. So that's going to be the energy that you give your feet. You're not actually going to separate your feet any further, but you're pushing into the bottom of the feet like you're trying to do so. And notice what happens when you do that. What happens when you do that is the leg bones come fully in alignment, right? And they want to stay there. Now, this isn't like a super strong action, it's a gentle action. We spread out the toes, we balance weight on all four corners of the feet. Now, to give you an idea of how it feels when you're pressing weight to all four corners of the feet, I'm going to invite you to lean towards the balls of the feet. Allow the heels of the feet to slowly lift up off the mat and notice the muscles that engage when you do so. Right? And then we're going to soften the knees. And as you begin to do this, be careful We're going to lean in towards the heels of the feet and lighten the balls of the feet. You don't actually have to lift the balls of the feet. This can actually make you fall back. I don't want anybody falling. And then release, noticing the muscles that engage when you do that. Then take weight to the outside of the feet, right? You can let the inner arches of the feet come up off the mat. And then to the inside of the feet, you can let the outer edges of the feet come up off the mat, right? Now, once you kind of have an idea of that, then you come back to center. You press that energy like you're trying to separate. You spread out the toes. You get weight on all four corners of the feet, and you notice those muscles that engage when you come to the front, to the back, to the side, and to the inside, right? To the out and to the in. And then you allow yourself to stand firm and strong. And you imagine that somebody can come to push you. And I always say that I'm going to do that in class. I'm like, oh, but I never do because it would be kind of mean to push somebody. It's not like I don't think about it sometimes. It would be kind of fun to like joke with somebody, right? But you want to imagine that somebody's coming to you and pushing you, and you can actually have somebody assist you in this at home with your practice. Like try to push me over, and then see how strong your mountain is. So stand firmly, soften the knees, but get the legs longer. Now from here, you're going to take your hands 2 inches below your belly button, make a little fist. And then another fist is going to come right at the sacrum. So this is right above your butt crack, right above your tailbone. Pulling here, you want to make sure that if you had a bar coming through your body, that both sides of the bar would be even, right? If you were to have a glass on either side of the bar, both of those glasses would be full. Both of those glasses would not and turn over. So that's going to be one of the things that assists you here. We pull the belly in and up, and we have to draw the tailbone down just a little tiny bit. It's not like a tucking of the tailbone. You'll notice you can see yourself in the side mirror whenever you do that. And you want to just make sure that you're standing firmly through the bottom of the feet, pulling up through the legs, and then finding that stability here. Once you find the stability through here, all of this stays grounded. And then from the hips above, the ribs between the hips, we think about trying to find length. Not length in the sense of lifting the chest up and arching the back, but length as in imagining that we can separate the vertebra, imagining that we can decompress our spine just by thinking it, right? So pressing firmly, strong legs, grounded hips, reaching the fingertips down, finding length through the side bodies, right? Crown of the head to reach to the sky and fingertips to reach to the ground. Now, when we're standing firmly and strong in our mountain, it gets to be very challenging. So allow yourself to stand here and take 10 deep breaths, maybe 5. I might sneeze in just a second. I don't know for sure. Maybe 5, okay? And if 5 feels okay and it feels like you can go to 10, go ahead and go to 10. And you might start to notice how your body says, whoa, this is a little challenging. This is kind of hard. And it should be. All of our poses that we come into will bring us into a state of challenging our bodies and challenging our minds to stay with the breath and with the body. And that's part of our practice. So once you get here and you stand still and you stand strong and you're utilizing all of that engagement to help you stand tall and strong, breathe, and then you can release. All right, so that's our mountain pose. A whole lot is involved in the mountain pose, and it is the foundation that helps to bring us into further poses. For instance, once we get our mountain pose, then we can work towards a balancing pose on one leg. Now, I always suggest, especially for beginners, to have a wall beside them because you want to be able to practice the pose without a fear of wobbling all over the place. And if you're wobbling all over the place and you're trying to stand on one leg, your mind isn't going to be able to stay at peace and the breath is going to become out of focus. So allow yourself to use the wall if you need. We're going to balance weight, and I'm going to do both of these just so that way we can, be even today. We're going to balance the weight onto the left leg. So first I'm in my mountain pose, and now I'm going to mentally say, okay, I'm going to be placing all the weight on the left leg, and I'm going to start to lift up the right heel. Now, one of the things that commonly happens is you'll have a lot of times we'll sink into this left hip. Now, when I sink into this left hip, the right side body collapses, right? I can try to be longer, but then I'm still sinking into the hip, and then I'm kind of like floppy jogged, right? So allow yourself to think about that. First, we're in a mountain. We're thinking about pressing firmer into the left foot and softening the right leg. And then as we start to soften the right leg, we start to pull the ball of the foot off the ground. We start to pull the knee up if it feels available, and we see where we are, right? The leg might not even come off the ground to begin with. For a lot of us, balancing with alignment is very challenging, okay? So allow yourself, again, to breathe here. Find where is available. Reach the arms down, reach the arms up. Work to playing with the arms, especially if you have the ball of the foot still on the floor, because that will help to build that awareness of being able to get stability and strength so you can lift the knee all the way up. And another thing to think about is whenever you're standing firmly and strong, one of the things that happens as we lift the knee up, we kind of do this. So notice how my tailbone tucked in so I could, my back is rounded out a little bit. I'm getting my knee up. It might be a little bit easier to hold up, but now I'm further along, I'm better aligned, right? So keep that in consideration. We're going to go into the opposite side, rooting down now with the right leg, lifting up the left heel, and then pulling up the left knee. Remember, you can take a few deep breaths here. You can reach the crown of the head up. You can use the wall for balance if you need, and then you can just allow the mind to draw inward, rooting down through the bottom of that right foot. You feel the engagement. You feel the belly pulling in and up as you're trying to pull that left knee up. And then you can start to lengthen out the legs too to have more engagement. All right, shake it out. That was your standing head to big toe pose is actually what that starts to bring in, or it comes into your tree pose too, right? So those are different options after you started to balance on one leg and see how it feels. Now we're going to go into Warrior One. Warrior One and Warrior Two are going to be the two poses that we work with today. And those are a lot of the times whenever you go to a group class, you will see these poses quite often. So they're great poses just to help to break down and get an idea of what to do. So we're going to step back with the right foot, okay? Now when I step back with the right foot, I'm going to invite you to start about a foot back, maybe 2 feet back, right? So one of the things that happens is we try to widen our stance too much, right? And then we try to square the hips forward, and our bodies don't have the flexibility needed yet to be able to accomplish that without putting ourselves out of alignment. So I always like to start you very, very short just so you can see how the body feels. So we start about 2 feet back with that right foot. I'm turning my right toes towards the front corner of my mat. My front heel is in line with my back foot's arch or my back foot's heel. Okay, those are going to be different depending on how it feels for you. Some people even step a little bit further out with that right foot to find a little bit more balance. So you get to determine that. Find what feels comfortable. Pay attention to the body. Now, the back foot, we want to give the energy like I'm trying to drag it forward and I'm trying to turn it in, okay? When I try to turn those toes towards the front, it's going to help to keep the back of that leg engaged. When I'm trying to pull the inside of that foot back, it's going to keep the front leg engaged, and that back knee will stay lifted. And then I'm going to reach out as much as I can through the outside of that back foot, right? Squaring the hips forward, rooting down through the front foot, I'm going to bend the front knee. Now my back butt cheek is super strong. My front leg and my front foot to bend that front knee is super strong, right? Because I can totally just kind of hang out or I can press firmly. So see, notice the difference? Okay, so I'm pressing firmly into the bottom of that front foot and I'm pulling and doing all of that energetic work through the back leg. Now I'm going to reach up with the arms. Now I'm reaching up with the arms, drawing the shoulders down, pulling the belly in and up. One of the things that you want to make sure that doesn't happen, and this is a good chance for you to look at yourself in the mirror at home if you have that. So notice how I'm pulling in everything here. One of the things that happens is tucking in too much or coming forward too much, okay? Notice the difference. You want the shoulders to be aligned over the hips. Okay, so once we get the legs situated,
Then we reach the arms up and the shoulders stay down, right? We can bring those hands all the way together. We pull the belly in and up, and then we find that space without hyperextending, but we find that space between the ribs and the hips to find more length. And then we can release. Shake it out a little bit, right? We're going to go into our warrior two now. Warrior two is going to be very similar, but now the hips are going to face the long side of the mat. So a lot of times people will want to get their hips to face the long side of the mat. I want you to notice this front knee here. The front knee will roll all the way towards and past the big toe of that front foot because I'm trying to keep my hips facing here. Again, with the flexibility, if it's not quite available yet, it's not necessarily going to be available for everybody to be able to square their hips to the side of the mat. It's really trying to find where the hips can go. So we're stretching it out, right? Not necessarily pulling it in and finding ourselves to be uncomfortable. So first thing, we take the front heel, still in line with the back foot's arch or the back foot's heel. The back foot is facing the long side of the mat. And sometimes for some people, I like to sometimes push my toe a little bit closer towards the back corner of the mat. So it just depends. Again, so now bottom of both of those feet are pulling towards each other. And then I'm going to bend that front knee. Bottom of both of the feet are pulling towards each other. The legs are strong. Back butt cheek is strong. Front knee is pushing towards that pinky toe. Now, here we go. We have the lower body set. The shoulders are above the hips. We're finding space. We're making sure we're not sticking the tailbone out or tucking it in, right? And then the arms reach out. As the arms reach out, the shoulders, I want you to squeeze the shoulders towards each other and then release. There's a slight squeeze in the shoulders as we pull just a tiny bit, and then we reach those fingertips out and we look towards those front middle fingers. Nice deep inhale and exhale. Release and shake it out. So warrior one and warrior two. Let's go to the opposite side, evening ourselves out, and see how it feels. I'm going to go through the cues again. You'll get to do them both and see kind of which ones stick with you and which ones don't for Neil. And that's going to be your key for you that's going to be a key for you to know which ones to focus on in the beginning until you start getting to know the pose a little bit better. Right foot at the front of the mat, left foot to step back. Square the hips to the front, press that energy into the bottom of those feet, bend the front knee, right? Arms out and up. Pull the belly in and up, press that front knee to where it's right on top of that front ankle. One more deep inhale, strong, straight back leg. Exhale. And then we're going to face the long side of our mat, right? We're going to bend the front knee, pull the bottom of the feet towards each other. Remember to push that front knee towards the pinky toe, reaching the arms out, pulling the shoulders tiny bit in, and looking over those front fingertips. One more deep inhale. And exhale, right? Now shaking it out. Now, that was 3 of our main poses, our mountain pose, actually 4. Some standing balances, and then our warrior 1 and warrior 2. Now, I'm going to show you the difference between warrior 2 and side angle before I finish off the second part of our series, right? So in warrior 2, right, we're facing the side of the mat with our hips. We're rooting down to the bottom of the feet. We're pulling the bottom of the feet towards each other. We're reaching out with those arms. And then when we come into side angle, we reach forward to come down to the top of that front leg or even the floor if that's available for us, a block if the floor isn't quite available, but the thigh is a little bit too high up for us, right? If we feel like we can go a little lower. Big thing here is right here in my warrior 2, I'm pulling the bottom of the feet towards each other. And as I begin to start reaching forward for my side angle, now I'm going to squeeze that back leg. It's almost like I'm trying to do a split. I don't actually want the back leg to move. But again, it's the energy in the back of that leg, like I'm trying to lengthen it a little bit longer as I find my way down to the top of my thigh. Now, when I find my way down to the top of my thigh, I don't want to just sink into it and put all the weight on the top of that leg. I actually want to try to find more lift and length through my left side body. Eventually, you might be able to lift both arms up. but I'm not going to advise you to do that today until you start to feel more comfortable. Now, remember, nice length here, rooting down through that left arm and finding length through that left side body. And then we can come up, we can switch the feet. So now the left toes are going to face the long side of the mat. Right toes are going to face the back of the mat. If you kind of want to be even with me, we come into the warrior two, right? Reaching the fingertips out, pulling the shoulders slightly in, pushing that front knee towards the pinky toe, bottom of the feet are pulling together. And then we exhale as we lengthen that back leg a little bit more, as though we're trying to find something to reach for. We can almost find it to pull for. Front forearm comes down, left arm reaches up. Right. And exhale. All right. Wide leg forward fold is going to be the last pose we do today, just because it will help to find a little relaxation to end the session, right? So wide leg forward fold, we have the bottom of our feet, or the toes are facing the long side of our mat. We're rooting down to the bottom of our feet, and then we're folding forward, right? And when we fold forward, we're trying to start with a long back, softening the knees as we need, and allowing the hands to come down either to blocks or to the floor. And then we just relax. Bend the knees a little more if you need. And root down to the bottom of the feet. Maybe nod the head yes, and shake the head no. One more deep inhale. And exhale. All right, slowly come all the way back up, reaching to the sky. And then exhale, arms out and down. I lied because I have one more pose I want to show you, and I'm going to move my mat to do so. So downward facing dog is another one. Ooh, there's so many. There's so many, y'all. So many things that I can work on with you. A downward facing dog is another pose that you will see a lot in class. Now, it's always funny with beginners because it is said that downward facing dog is a resting pose, and in truth, it does become that way for a lot of people. Some people, it never gets that way for them. So take that with a grain of salt as you're practicing. I'm going to show you the common things that I see in the pose. So a lot of times people have tight hamstrings, tight lower backs, and they try to come into their downward facing dog. Notice my back here. Notice my tailbone. You see how my tailbone's kind of drawing down? I can't even push my tailbone up because my legs are too close, right? So I'm going to lengthen back. I guess this is probably the best angle to be at for this. Okay, so I don't want to be like this. I want to lengthen out the legs a little bit more and soften the knees. And then I'm going to press firmly to the hands to extend the arms and try to get the back long, right? So notice the difference. I'm really sticking my booty up in the air. That's what I constantly tell people. And then we can try to draw the heels down. The heels may not touch in the beginning, right? And that's okay. We keep the knees bent. And we can take a nice deep inhale as we try to take the tummy to the top of the thighs. And then from there, we try to lengthen the legs and see if we can draw those heels down without letting anything change in the back. Inhale to bend. Exhale to release and extend, right? Seeing what feels good. You can pedal the feet here, you can nod the head yes, and shake the head no. Another big cue that we have is to keep both side bodies long and to press weight into the palms of the hands as though you are trying to pull the hands towards each other. Again, with that energy, right? So notice how when I do that, my elbows bend, and then when I extend my arms over the head, I'm still pressing that energy into the palms to help me with my down dog, right? Now, soften the knees down to the mat and let yourself come into a child's pose if that feels good. That does complete our second video of the beginner series. There are so many poses and so many cues. But like I said, it starts to become second nature. It starts to become easier to figure out and not be as intimidating. And really, it's about practicing what feels good for your body and allowing yourself to deepen only as that flexibility comes and not pushing yourself, right? So I hope you enjoy this second session. and will enjoy bringing you the third, where we break down our sun salutations. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.